I'm Lisa Stone, and you're listening to Parenting Aces. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 4 of the Parenting Aces podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and am thrilled to have Trevor Short on the podcast this week. Trevor is going to talk to us about a really cool event happening in Atlanta in a few weeks, and I was very excited to have him on and get some inside scoop on what's going to be happening. Trevor is a former top junior tennis player from Tennessee who played college tennis at Middle Tennessee State University, where his dad was actually the men's tennis coach. And after playing tennis and testing his medal on the pro tour for a bit, Trevor decided that he wanted to get into event planning. And so he started a company called T&S Events that has eventually kind of morphed and grown into a new company called Premier Live. And you're going to hear Trevor talk about what Premier Live does and the events they put on. But the one that caught my attention is one involving Rafael Nadal and Grigor Dimitrov happening in Atlanta. And for those of you who are going to be in the area, I hope you'll click on the photo of those two guys on the sidebar of ParentingAces.com, and that'll take you to the event site where you can read more and purchase tickets. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode with Trevor Short of Premier Live. Welcome to the podcast, Trevor Short. I'm so happy to have you.
Thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
So I would love to start out by asking you to give the Parenting Aces audience a little bit of your background in the sport of tennis. And you and I have a lot of background in common, but I'm going to let you share your story with us.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. Well, I actually come from a very large tennis family. So I've played tennis my entire life. My father's played tennis his whole life, and his parents before him. I guess it started with my step grandmother back in the 1950s. She was actually got to number 5 in the world. Was semi-finalist at both Roland Garros as well as at Wimbledon. Her name was Carol Fagros, and then from there, my father went on and was actually top 5 in the United States and played McEnroe, and then he became a college coach at Middle Tennessee State University and was there for 20-something years. And he taught me all throughout juniors. I played ever since I could walk. And I was, unfortunately, I didn't get to quite their level, but I reached around top 20 in the country in juniors, and then went on and played at Middle Tennessee State and loved it. Played there for 4 years and reached around 20 in the country in doubles and top 100 in singles. And it was college tennis for me was probably one of my most incredible experiences of my life. Just some of the relationships that I built while I was there were amazing, and playing in a team atmosphere was incredible. And then from there went on and actually coached tennis for a couple of years. I moved from Tennessee to Atlanta and coached at Old Town Athletic Club for a few years, where Robbie Ginepri was the owner at the time, Jerry Baskin, and then from doing that for a few years, that's when I started getting into an events business. But tennis has been a huge part of my life, and I now have 2 children, of which one of them is getting into tennis a little bit, my 9-year-old son. But yeah, I absolutely love tennis. It's given me everything in my life. So
that's awesome. How was it having a coach as a parent?
It was awesome. My dad was really good at giving me, he always encouraged me and pushed me, but was very good at, I guess, not being too pushy. And I can now, being a parent, I can see how it's easy to sometimes get maybe too involved and, live vicariously through them, and push them too hard. But he always encouraged me. And he knew for me, because I loved the game so much, I guess the biggest punishment that he could give me was to take me away from the game, not make me go out and do more or have to go hit more serves or go run lines or something because it was a punishment. It was more of, no, okay, we know how much you love the game. If I misbehaved or whatever it was, he would pull me away from the game, which was the worst punishment I could ever experience. But it was a dream come true to be able to play for my father in college. That was what I wanted to do, and I loved it.
That's awesome. And so now you are into event planning, but not just, bat mitzvahs and weddings. I mean, you are into major event planning, one of which is coming up very soon in Atlanta. And I would love for you to share with our audience what you're doing, who it's benefiting, and how the Parenting Aces community can support your efforts.
Yeah, definitely. So I got into the event space, like I said, right after teaching tennis. So in 2007 was my first major event, and it was in Atlanta with Andy Roddick. Probably some of your listeners may have attended that event. It was my first one. It was called the Infinite Energy Atlanta Slam, and we had about 7,000 people. It was a great success. I think one of the larger events at the time to come through Atlanta in tennis, and that then took me to do several more years of those. I did more of those at the same arena. And then I did the Australian Open Wildcard playoffs in Atlanta, and really just loved the event space, everything from start to finish. And then about 10 years ago, I met my now business partner, Remington Reynolds. He was the owner of one of the owners of the Racquet Club of the South in Atlanta and Norcross. And he and I hit it off. He's a huge tennis fan, and we started what's now called Premier Live, as well as we started, as well as one other person, Steve Gorelick was one of the owners of the Racquet Club of the South. We started the National Tennis Foundation. So now our business, Premier Live, we run tennis events, golf events, music events around the world. But all of the events that we do run, also we make sure that we're giving back, and we help support the National Tennis Foundation, which is now, we have 3 different chapters. We have one in Atlanta with Sam Kennedy, who some of your listeners may know at South Fulton Tennis Center. We've got, I think, about 30 kids or so now that we support there. We have a chapter in Las Vegas called the Inspiring Children's Foundation. Incredible program. They've been going for a long time, and we've supported them now for the last 6 or 7 years. Over 200 kids have come out of there and gone on to get college scholarships and play tennis at almost any university you can imagine. And then we started a chapter a couple of years ago down in the British Virgin Islands, where there was no tennis whatsoever. And then we brought tennis to that area, and now it's a thriving little tennis town, which is really cool to see. So our events, we try to always make sure that we're, helping a great cause along the way. We've also been fortunate to be able to support some very big names, Rafael Nadal Foundation, the Novak Djokovic Foundation, John McEnroe's Foundation, many different major tennis foundations throughout the world. Our events have supported. Our biggest event that we do on an annual basis is something called the Necker Cup, which is, like I said, it's an annual event with Sir Richard Branson. It's held on his private island, Necker Island. We do it each year in either November or December. This year it's November 16th to the 21st. But we've had Rafa. That's how we had the opportunity to meet Rafa and develop a relationship and then bring him to Atlanta. But we've had the opportunity of Rafa. We've had Novak. We've had, oh man, the list goes on and on, that have been a part of that event. It's been amazing.
Let me just say that my dream is to come to that event because I follow y'all's social media every year. I'm buddies with Johan Krieg, who has been several times with his family. And every year I tell him I'm happy to come and be the babysitter, but he doesn't take me up on that. So I don't know. At some point, we're going to have to make this work, Trevor.
Let's talk offline. We can figure something out. No, it is that event has it's hard to believe we're entering our 9th year of that event. It's become more than just tennis now. We've got this past year we had Florida Georgia Line come and perform. We've had Jimmy Buffett. We've had Kenny Chesney. I mean, just an incredible list of music artists that have also become a part of it. In golf, we had Nick Faldo this past year, Greg Norman previous years, Bryson DeChambeau. We did a private party with Tiger Woods a few years ago, and so it's been pretty incredible, some of the things we've been able to do through that. But that event has opened up a lot of new opportunities for us, including the relationship with Rafa, which over the last couple of years I've had the great privilege of getting to know Rafa a lot more. I took him down actually to the Bahamas this year in August and got a chance to spend an incredible week with him and get to know him, and told him about what we're doing with our foundation, and told him about how Atlanta has the greatest tennis community in the world, in my opinion. And I said, you need to come to Atlanta. And it was quite amazing because he didn't really say a whole lot at the time about it. He was like, yeah, that's interesting. And then I was at the US Open about 2 weeks later, and he sort of came up and tapped me on the shoulder with his agent, and we're like, yeah, let's make that happen, Trevor. I was like, really?
Wow.
So, it was really cool. So as you mentioned, we will have Rafa here with another friend of ours, Grigor Dimitrov. We've done a lot with him. A great guy, great human being. They'll be here March 1st and March 2nd. It's going to be an amazing couple nights.
The National Tennis Foundation is committed to the development and advancement of underserved student athletes by providing opportunities through tennis and project-based educational and leadership programs. These programs are devised to promote academic excellence, healthy living, personal responsibility, and character development. The NTF was founded by Remington Reynolds and Steve Gerlich in 2009 after the father of one of their players was trapped alive in the Haiti earthquake. This tragedy mobilized their entire club to raise money to fly a private plane to rescue him. Rem and Steve wanted a way to help those in need find ways to break through their circumstances to succeed in life. From humble beginnings, the National Tennis Foundation has evolved to serve 3 chapters: Las Vegas, Atlanta, and the Virgin Islands. To find out more and to make a donation, visit nationaltennisfoundation.org. So tell us about the March 1st event, because that's the one that's tied to the foundation, both NTF and Rafa's foundation, correct?
Correct, yes. So when Rafa agreed to come to Atlanta, he said, listen, obviously I'm excited to do the exhibition, but he goes, I really want to do something intimate that's going to let people learn more about what our foundations are about. Both of our foundations, the Rafael Nadal Foundation and the National Tennis Foundation. As I previously mentioned, our foundation is really focused around youth, and tennis is a part of it, but it's more than just tennis. Like ours is about developing well-rounded individuals of healthy living to their education to everything. But tennis is a part of it, and when we started talking to Rafa about this, we learned that his foundation was very, very similar, does a lot of the similar things. Now, a lot of what he does is outside of the United States, in Mallorca in Spain, where he's from. But there was a lot of similarities. And so we said, let's do a dinner in Atlanta with we're anticipating about 75 people. So it will be very intimate. We have been fortunate enough to secure one of the top restaurants in Atlanta. I would say definitely the top sushi restaurant in Atlanta, called Umi. The owner is a big tennis fan. His name's Farshid, great guy. And he's been kind enough to actually give us the whole space at no cost and cover all the expenses so we can raise more money for the foundations. But that night, we have, like I said, a limited amount of space, but guests can come in it's for $6,500 per person, a donation for $6,500 per person, or $12,500 per couple. They can not only come to the dinner that night with Rafa, and I get a lot of people saying, well, I really get a chance to meet him. Yeah, you'll actually not only meet him, you'll get a chance to talk to him and hang out and really spend an intimate night with him, as well as Grigor and some other, I can't say the names, but it looks like we're going to have some pretty amazing celebrities that have just recently said they want to be a part of it. So it's going to be a special night. And then the following night, if you purchase those tickets to come to the dinner, you get to sit courtside, literally down right on the court the following night for the match with Grigor and Rafa.
Awesome. And y'all are doing a silent auction at the dinner, and you've got a musical performance happening. I mean, it's going to be a really incredible evening. And I will say I have eaten at Umi, and it is indeed one of the best, if not the best restaurant in Atlanta. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great night. And if you've been there, obviously you've seen it's a relatively small, definitely intimate space. So it's like literally you could sit on one side of the room, the other side of the room, and you still feel like you're, in someone's living room. So it's very intimate. You get a lot of one-on-one time, with Rafa and Grigor and these guys. We'll have music that night. We're actually going to do a little after party. Umi has a special little private spot right next to the restaurant that they sort of rent out for certain private events and things, where they've opened it up for us to do an after party. Rafa and Grigor have not promised to be a part of that yet, but they're fun guys, and I think there's a good chance we can talk them into coming to the after party as well. So I'm hoping it'll be a really fun night.
And the proceeds from the event, as you mentioned, are going to benefit both the Rafael Nadal Foundation and the National Tennis Foundation. Mm-hmm. What specifically will funds be used for? I mean, and I don't know if you can speak to Rafa's foundation, but certainly NTF, what do y'all need the funding to do?
Sure. Well, 75% of the proceeds raised from the dinner will go to all the payments come to the National Tennis Foundation, but we take 75% of those and give those back out to the Rafa Foundation. And as you said, I can't speak specifically for exactly how they will use their money within the Rafael Nadal Foundation. But for the National Tennis Foundation, listen, we have a number of needs. I mean, in Atlanta, for example, and we'll spread it across our chapters, Atlanta, Vegas, as well as the British Virgin Islands. And we're always looking potentially to open up new chapters where we can support kids in other areas as well. So if we ever can raise enough, that's certainly a goal of ours to potentially open up new chapters. Excuse me. But within, for example, in Atlanta, I mean, there are so many kids that are coming to, the South Fulton Tennis Center there with, for example, Sam Kennedy, that cannot afford to come in and play tennis on a daily basis. They can't even afford a racket. They can't even, they definitely can't afford any type of training. And that's something that our foundation will do. We'll step in and we provide them those opportunities. In some cases, like in Vegas, it's more than just that. I mean, we literally have provided housing for families that'll come in and say, I mean, they've been struck, by all different types of terrible, disasters in their lives. And we will come in and say, okay, what can we do to help you get you on your feet? Yes, we want your child to come into the program and be able to play tennis and give them an education. And, but we also even provide housing and sometimes provide travel for some of these kids that, as many of your listeners, I'm sure know how expensive it is once you get to a certain level in tennis to be able to pursue what your kids love. It's not cheap. So our foundation does a lot of different things across the board to help all these different chapters.
That's awesome. And I'm very familiar with Sam Kennedy's program, having lived in Atlanta for as long as I have, and actually Sam's sons and my son went through juniors together and competed against each other in juniors and in high school tennis. Their schools played one another in the championships every year. So we've known the Kennedys forever, and what an incredible job Sam does with that facility and with those kids. And he makes such an effort to get these kids exposed to as many positive influences and experiences as he can. And your foundation helps fund all that. I mean, Sam has taken kids to the US Open. He's taking kids to Indian Wells, to show them what they can aspire to if they continue working hard in their tennis. And not only that, he make sure that the kids have opportunities to network with potential mentors, with future employers, and to really help them understand the opportunities that are there for them if they continue to work hard.
100%. I mean, oh man, Sam is an incredible guy. He's done so much, for us and our foundation. And if anyone that's listening knows him, make sure you ask him about his voice. The guy's got one of the most incredible voices.
To sing?
He can sing like the.
Come on.
Him and Wayne Bryan, they do like the best duet piece I've ever heard.
That is too awesome. I knew Wayne could sing. I've seen him, but I had no idea that's, oh man. All right. I've got my next project when I come back to Atlanta. I'm gonna hit Sam up. That's too awesome.
But one of the things that you mentioned that is important that I would like to elaborate on with our foundation is,
sure.
We do, two things. We're very big on project-driven learning. So, especially a group in Vegas, and we're trying to do more of this in Atlanta, but having the kids actually come in and help run events. So they will, like, for example, our event on Necker Island, our silent auction, majority of it, and a lot of even the on-site operations are ran by the kids in the foundation. We find that giving them that opportunity to do that, helps them in so many ways get ready for the real world, whatever they decide to go into. So that's a big part of one of the things we do. And then also providing, like you said, then the opportunity to do, incredible experiences. Like I think this past year we brought 4, maybe 5 of the children from Atlanta to Necker Island, along with Sam Kennedy. We brought about 8 to 10 of the kids from Vegas out to Necker Island. Last year, I was a part of a group that we helped support 400 kids we took to Indian Wells. It was amazing. And then also another group of over 20 that we took to the US Open. And all these trips are funded, through the foundation. And it's special to be a part of it. It really is.
For sure. And for the event that's happening in Atlanta in March, the kids are going to be involved in that as well, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. In fact, we are going to highlight the kids that night on the court. They're helping in different ways with auction items. We've got, they're helping in many different ways. So 100%.
And for example, they're going to be doing meet and greet with the guests and helping with setup and working the auction, doing player services, all of those things. Correct. And these are amazing skills for any kid to get to experience and develop at a young age, because they're skills that translate into pretty much any job that you have in the future.
Oh no, exactly. It's amazing to see some of the things that some of the careers that some of the kids have gone on. Like our Atlanta chapter is newer. We've had our Atlanta chapter now for about 4 to 5 years. The Vegas chapter they've been now for over 10 years. And to see like some of those kids that have gone on after college, they've gone on to play at Yale and Princeton and Harvard, and the list goes on. And then after that, to see some of the careers they've gone into is amazing. And they'll come back and say, hey, if it wasn't for some of the, some of the project-driven learning things that they did when they were part of the foundation, they probably wouldn't be in the position that they're in today. Like you said, it translates over into almost any, space they go into.
And you guys work with Ryan Wolfington in Vegas, right?
Correct. Ryan runs the program. He started the Inspiring Children's Foundation, and then we found that they were, and I didn't realize that you knew Ryan. So I literally talk to Ryan on a daily basis. He's one of my close personal friends now, but he is the executive director there of the Inspiring Children's Foundation, which our foundation, the National Tennis Foundation, made their foundation a chapter of ours. So when I speak of Vegas, I'm speaking of Ryan and their program. So we've been working with them now for about 8 years.
Yeah, and they do amazing work. And Ryan brings, all sorts of great events to Vegas that center around tennis and gets those kids involved. And I just think it's amazing what you guys are doing. So why should the Parenting Aces community care about all this? And how can we get involved and help you?
Oh, man. I mean, well, one, you can certainly, like I said, attend one of these events because, like for the dinner, obviously, the proceeds go to these foundations, which all these different chapters are in need of funding in order to grow and just to sustain themselves. So that's certainly one way, is coming and enjoying yourself at the same time supporting these great causes. Two, if you're just interested in supporting tennis and you want to help in some way, and maybe it's not monetarily, listen, go to our foundation, reach out to Judy, who's the director of our foundation. And there's all types of opportunities, from volunteering at some of these events, from, helping us go out and find auction donations that can bring in money, at these events. There's numerous different ways that they can help support, and there's no shortage of need.
And if someone is interested in partnering with y'all to open a chapter in their city, is that something that's feasible?
Definitely. It's something that would need to be discussed, and it's something we could set up a call. Like I said, they go to the nationaltennisfoundation.org and reach out to Judy Edwards, and we would then set up a call and discuss that further and just see what the needs may be, and what they're already doing in the community, but it's something that's definitely a possibility.
Fantastic. How do people get information on purchasing tickets and coming to either the dinner or the exhibition, or both?
Sure. They can go to premierlive.com, and on Premier Live, there's two tabs. One tab is to just purchase tickets, and that takes you to the event purchasing page. And tickets go from $75 all the way up to, $500, depending on where people are wanting to sit. And then if they're interested in attending the dinner and then sitting courtside the following night, they too, on that website, premierlive.com, there's another tab that says purchase courtside seats and charity dinner passes. And that actually will then take them to me. The direct email will come to me, and then I will reach out with the information. So that's how.
Awesome. And also, just to make things easier, if you're interested, on ParentingAces.com, you will see a photo of Rafa and Grigor on the sidebar. And if you click on that photo, it will take you to the place to purchase the tickets and to get more information. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible for all of you to help support this fantastic effort that the National Tennis Foundation is behind. And we want you all to participate as much as possible and help spread the word. So if you have people in Atlanta on March 1st and 2nd, point them our way, and I will be there covering the event for Parenting Aces as well. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing as many of our community members as possible there as well. So, Trevor, thank you. Is there anything else we need to know before we sign off here?
No, just cheer for Rafa. I'm a little biased. I'm hoping he ties Roger this week and hits 20. We'll see.
I always am cheering for Rafa. I fangirl so bad around him. It's pathetic. And one day I will get to shake his hand. But for now, I just satisfy myself by watching him and, sometimes getting the opportunity to be in his press conferences when I'm at an event that he's playing. So I love it. But best of luck to you guys. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks in Atlanta. And if there's anything else that the Parenting Aces community can do to help you, I hope you'll let us know, and we'll push it out on our social media and our other channels.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for having me on, Lisa, and look forward to seeing you and on March 2nd.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Trevor. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Parenting Aces. I'm Lisa Stone, and you've been listening to the Parenting Aces podcast. For tennis parents, by a tennis parent. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to us and write a review on iTunes. For more information on navigating the junior and college tennis journey, please visit us online at ParentingAces.com. Thanks for tuning in and sharing us with your tennis community.